Thank you. There you go.
Okay, so yeah, welcome everyone tonight. I know a lot of familiar faces here, but if you're new to the clinic, welcome as well. Tonight's talk is going to be on headaches and migraines. We're going to look at some different causes and also look at some solutions. So we'll get straight into it. So yeah, we're going to cover some self-help tips as well. So a lot of things you can take away with you and use straight away at home as well. So I'm going to go through those. So before I get started, I thought I'll start with this analogy, and because I was really thinking about this the other day when I saw this amazing classic car. And I'm sure a few of you here have been the same when you've been driving along, and you just see a beautiful beaming plastic car, especially this time of year. You know, nice weather, the drop top ones, and you know, I think it must have been because I was sent towards Leeds. They must have been going to Harold House or some classic show one or something. So this car, I say there was a couple in it, and this car looked absolutely brand new, like it just come out of the showroom. It was flying along, and it just made me think. I thought that car's about 80 plus years old, and it's absolutely perfect. But somewhere in the country or on a scrap heap somewhere, there's a car that was made. There was a car in front of that car, behind that car, that was made in exactly the same line by the same people using the same materials, and it's on a scrap heap, isn't it? Or it's been crushed and disposed of. And what got me thinking is, well, how has that car been able to maintain and look the way it has?
Because they looked after.
Yeah. So the owners have kind of looked after it and maintained it. And which part of the car do you think they looked after?
The engine.
All of it. They didn't just thought, I'll just change the oil or just change the tyres. For it to maintain like that, they've had to look after every single thing. And I'm using quite simple analogies, but I think it's often the best way to communicate this, because a lot of people, when we look at health and maintain their own body, they think, oh, right, yeah, I eat pretty well, I've got a good diet, and they do nothing else. Or, I exercise regularly. I take really good care of myself, So they just think if they do a little bit, that's enough. And often that's not the case. As we know, just the way that car, if you want it to stay looking pristine and running well 80, 90 years down the line, you've got to look after everything. So that's what we're going to cover today, really. So, what is chiropractic? And the way I always start is, it's what I believe is true healthcare. Because although we've got a national healthcare service, and God bless them, we've got nursing tonight, so I'm going to be very, very careful. But I am not criticising in any way. I say if I fell down the stairs, got hit by a car, get me there straight away, and they do an amazing job and they'll save your life. But is there anything that you can do if you went there now that would improve your health? No, in fact, most things to do with you would actually reduce your health, unless you're in a crisis situation. So you've got to understand it's not really a healthcare service. It's sick care, it's for crisis care, it's putting out fires. But most people, they rely on that to maintain their health or look after their health, and there's a huge kind of shortfall there. So if I ask most people, how are you healthy? They say, oh yeah, I'm feeling fine, I'm healthy, and they measure their health on how they feel. So what things happen with this lady here?
Heart attack.
Yeah. So she's holding a chest, classic symptoms there. Interesting thing is, with heart disease, what we know from the research is that the arteries have to be up to 80% blocked off before you actually get any symptoms. So, the point I'm trying to make is that probably if I asked that lady 5 minutes before, how do you feel? I feel fine. Is she healthy? No, she's about to die. Because 64% of people with heart disease, the first symptom they get is a fatal heart attack. But their perception is, I feel good, I feel fine. And you compare it to lots of other things. If you look at, it's a bit like today, you go out for a meal, have the starter, main course, or dessert, bite into the ice cream, get a shooting pain in your tooth. You go to the dentist, and there's an x-ray, you've got a cavity. The cavity didn't start when you bit into the ice cream. It wasn't one meal that rotted your teeth. It's a process that's been going on a long time. But it's amazing, you know, as a chiropractor, I get people in and say, yeah, I know what's wrong with me. I picked something up in the garden the other week, and that's what did it. So I just need something popping back in, and then I'll be on my way every sorting. But I know it sounds silly, but we have that. How many calls have you taken on the desk like that? They're telling you what's wrong with it.
Yeah.
Book me in. This is what I need.
Yeah.
But it's their perception because I felt fine before I picked that up. So the problems, you know, it's only been there a week. It's nothing serious. It's only been there a week or 2 weeks. But you know, if you get someone in to the hospital and they go, oh, don't worry, it's okay. This chest pains, this heart attack's only been there about 30 minutes. Don't worry about it. Okay? So it's again interesting how we have our perception of health, and especially our spines and what we're going to explain, the central nervous system. Okay. So this is, again, I'm not speaking down to anyone in here. This is just, I'm asking simple questions because it's, like I say, it's often the best way to communicate this. So this is here, we've got this rather healthy looking plant. I shouldn't really say that after looking at the two ones outside that front door that are not. Yeah, they got blew over in the wind when they had really bad wind. We just thought, oh, we'll just stick them back in again. Yeah, they had a trauma, and they slowly changed colour, and now they look like this. So this is obviously a really sick plant, isn't it? You can tell by the colour of it, it's wilting, it doesn't look healthy at all. So, really simple question. What would we do to try and get that healthy again?
Water it wouldn't be a good start.
Water it, let's get some water in there. Anything else you'd do?
Nutrients.
Nutrients in the soil, that's important. Anything else?
Might need a bigger pot.
Bigger pot? Anything else?
Soil.
Take up the old.
Yeah, replant it.
Anyone want to get any sunlight?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Depends what it likes.
Okay. So if you gave it all those things, what would you expect to happen?
Nothing more. Come back to life.
Yeah. You know, if you were all plants, would do that to you. I mean, you're all good looking plants, but yeah, you'd all tend to flourish and look healthy again. And it's funny. I've been doing this talk quite a while, and I always use this analogy. And I've done it in schools as well, in little kids, and they all give the same answers. They actually remember sunlight, but yeah, they all gave the same answers. Not once has anyone said, "Oh, what that needs is a statin," or it needs a blood pressure tablet, or it needs a paracetamol, or an aspirin, you know, an ibuprofen. That's what it's lacking to get it healthy. But it's interesting, you know, we get up in the morning, we're achy, we're sore, you know, got a banging head, and we think, oh, I've got to get through the day. You know, we're like that wilting plant. And what do? You know, walk along the landing, you go to the bathroom, what do you reach for? The medicine cabinet, go in there, what can I find? Oh, what's the date on these? Oh, these deals do. Or, you know, didn't so-and-so next door have a root canal? Let's go get some really strong stuff. We'll just borrow it from them. And we just chuck these pills down. And, you know, if we did that to the plant, would we expect it to continue to thrive and flourish? So you all accept, no, so why, this is a good question, it's an important question, so why, if you did all those things, why would you expect the plant to thrive and get well again?
It's a natural remedy for a plant.
It's a natural remedy, because what's happening within the plant when you do those things?
Just getting everything against the front.
It's rebalancing it.
Yeah.
It's rebalancing the
Repair and
plant's
stuff.
own system, basically.
So you would say it's designed to be healthy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no, you know, whatever your religious beliefs, whatever, God, Mother Nature, whatever, they didn't design a plant to be sick. What they designed a plant for, if it got all that it needs, it's always going to express health. Okay? So, it's amazing with ourselves, we kind of blame lots of different things. And it's just, you know, things like 1% of disease is genetic. But it's easy to say, oh yeah, mum had it, father had it, and we make all these other excuses without actually looking at what we're lacking, what's our sunlight, nutrients, what do we need. So as we're speaking about headaches, migraines, I thought I'd put up some of the most common drugs that people will instantly use, and most of these you can get over the counter as well. So yeah, paracetamol, aspirin, naproxen, ibuprofen. You know, if we actually look at what happens, that, you know, the side effects, changes in blood counts and liver function, aspirin, Ray's syndrome, heartburn, gastrointestinal bleeding, bronchospasm, anaphylaxis, peptic ulcer, upset with the naproxen, upset stomach, gastrointestinal bleeding, nausea, vomiting, rash, changes in liver function, ibuprofen, gastrointestinal upset, gastrointestinal bleeding, nausea, vomiting, rash, changes in liver function. This is taken from the NHS website. More than 1 million people in Britain may be suffering from constant crippling headaches because they're taking too many painkillers. Number one drug that causes headaches is codeine. So and it's actually used to treat headaches. So just think about that for a moment. You're more likely to keep taking those tablets, aren't you, for a long period of time. Fortunately, other organs are going to start to fail. There's no magic GPS. So when you've got a headache and a migraine, you swallow a tablet, it's not got a magic GPS. It's we're just going to go to Jane's head, you know, or it's going to have a blanket effect over every cell in your body. And this long-term use of it is damaging your organs, and it leads to much bigger issues, and then more drugs, and the problem is it gets in that cycle where you're on antacids. I had a young girl in, and she had IBS, she had headaches and migraines, she had severe joint pain, energy issues, and she came and she was a full cocktail of drugs. And one of the drugs, which is again often used for headaches, was amitriptyline. And I said to her, well,
Was it there? Everything you just said. Well,
she wasn't, I said she was a young girl, and I'm not, no, you just told me you're 32 weeks pregnant, but she was 14. So. And I said, oh, why are they giving you that one? They said, oh, it's just my headaches. I said, no, that's an antidepressant. And she had no idea that she was given an antidepressant for a headache. But yeah, you're going to hear from this person a bit later, so I'll go forward from there. So in the same way that you knew that a plant it's designed, it's programmed to heal, you know what the good news is?
So we.
Exactly. So every single person has got that same. So I've put that's my little boy Jake. He's not so small now, he's actually 7, but we just had another baby, she's 11 weeks now. So somehow I'm still coherent in this talk, but yeah, it's been a tough few weeks. But his birth was particularly difficult, and his cord was too short, and they didn't know, they had no idea. We were all set up for a home birth. We ended up being rushed into hospital, and again, doctors and nurses did a fantastic job. Obstetrician didn't have a clue what was going on though, he didn't know why it was happening, and got ready for an emergency C-section, which I knew was going to be a big problem because his head she was fully dilated and his head was coming out, so that wouldn't have been the best outcome at that point. So they actually used a Von2 suction cup, and one snapped, and then put another one on, managed to get him out, but as you can see there, his scalp was actually torn by that, and he had a severe strain of his cranium. And straight away, I should have put a picture of him the next day, but one of his eyes was really half closed, and that stayed like that for a while. So I knew there was, with my training, I knew there was some issues with his cranial nerves, his optic nerve, and what was going on. And before I come on to the outcome, we forget the amazing intelligence that's within that body, and how we're all miracles. And we all start the same way. There's 2 cells, egg and sperm come together. That makes one cell. That then cell divides into multiple cells. So we go from 2, 4, 8, 16, and it goes on and on. And these are all called undifferentiated cells. What that means, if you look down the microscope, they're all identical. And you've probably heard of them as stem cells. So in 9 months, we have about 70 trillion cells, and they form a human body from that one cell. which are identical. They know to turn into eyes, ears, nose, all your organs. And that intelligence doesn't stop when you're born. That intelligence is with you throughout your life. So he went, when he was old enough, we went to take him to an eye test in the hospital. They gave us some news that he said he has a lazy eye. That eye will tend to get worse. It's not working properly, it's overworking, it'll just tend to fatigue. So they gave him some pretty strong glasses there, and they said we'll keep checking, and we'll just have to keep on the prescription, and we'll have to end up getting pretty strong glasses. So I had other theories of this. So I continued to work on him and to help his body flourish, to help him thrive, and he went for his checkup. It was 6 months later. They did the same test again, and she was like looking at the lenses again and retesting it, and said it's really strange, but his eyes have actually got significantly better. Fast forward another 6 months, they said you don't have to wear glasses anymore. So that innate ability to heal and repair, and again, as long as you give the body what it needs, you remove a lot of interference, it's amazing how it can heal and repair. So yeah, that was him at the opening party in September. He's not actually got a squid nose, just winking at Charlotte. Charlotte's scared of balloons.
Yeah.
Chasing Charlotte.
Yeah, thanks for that.
So, how does that work? I'm just giving you a statement there. You think, well, how does that possibly work? So, if I said to you, all my patients know this answer because I drill it into you, don't I? So, what's the most important, for my non-patient, what would you say is the most important organ in the body?
I know it.
Oh, you must
Not
be
able
there.
to-
Oh, right.
So what you said is what everyone else said when I asked them. So don't worry. So everyone goes to the heart. And that's because what they teach you at school. What everyone forgets about is that one up at the top there. So by far, the most important one is the brain. Okay, we know it's the brain, it's the only organ encased in bone. And what does it do? It controls all the other organs. So there's no actual intelligence within those organs. They're all bits of machinery. So the brain is what's controlling everything. So how does the brain control all those organs? Don't say you don't know. Obviously, you've got years, you can see.
Good as time, right?
Yeah, so there are signals, there are messages, there are electrical impulses, and they're travelling down the spinal cord, out through these nerves, and they're running absolutely everything. So they're controlling, your blood pressure, your heart rate, your digestion, your reproductive system, your immune system. So all of that is controlled and regulated through the central nervous system. So there's a particular part right at the top here, your brainstem, and off the brainstem comes the cranial nerves. I think we've got that, haven't we? I'm trying to think of the order I put this in.
I think it's the next one.
Yeah, so this now just show it's like a fuse box with all these wires coming out, all these messages coming in, and the spine is like the armour that allows you to bend and twist and move, but it's all, it's mainly to protect that spinal cord. So these pairs of nerves are coming out and running and controlling every single thing. So it's an amazing complex arrangement. So yes, the brainstem here is where all your cranial nerves come up. So you've probably heard of some of them, the optic nerve, olfactory, smell, taste, vestibulocochlear goes to like the inner ear. So does anyone suffer from migraines here? Yeah, I know you do. Yeah. So they can be different, can't they? They can be very different, and they can affect different. And you could ask 20 people with migraines, and they'll all experience different types of symptoms. But what they all have in common is they all affect these same nerves. So, and like some people can get blurred vision. They can have cut off the vision in one eye or cut off the other, or they can have half the eye. Some people have it transverse across that way, or they can see all sparkly things, and then all the balance of them. Or they'll feel really nauseous. Do you get that? Or there's certain smells that you can't take, or that you're more sensitive to. So, and people can actually throw up from it. People can get paralysis of the face, where the face will look like they've had a stroke. So what's happening is, as you can see here, all these cranial nerves, they control everything in your head, all this complex arrangement let's say, swallowing and your glands and your muscle control. I say your inner ear, your eyes, smell, taste. So everything is being controlled through here, but it's still coming through the brain, and it's all being protected by this top vertebra. And this is the one called the atlas. It's a very important one. It's one that we check a lot as chiropractors, because if this isn't right, nothing below it can be right. So remember Christopher Reeve? So he fell off a horse and he fractured. And it was only, when they looked at it, it was only a tiny damage to his neck, but it was enough to shut everything off. And the only way they kept him alive was the machine on his heart and lungs. So, as I say, a lot of, the higher up the pressure on the spine, the more effect it can have on the body. That's why the upper part of the neck is so important to us as chiropractors. Okay. Now, the word we use for when the natural alignment of the spine, so you imagine this arm which is protecting that, if that comes out of its natural position, that bone will be pressing on those delicate nerves. So you imagine now what would happen to those messages. They're going to be distorted, changed, and so the organs at those ends of those nerves are going to be healthy or sicker. Every single time, because they're not getting that intelligence, those messages going through. So the disc, a lot of people focus on the discs and the arthritis, but the key part is this nerve. As soon as there's pressure on that, that's going to alter function in your body. And the thing is, you don't feel it in the same way. That pressure. If you have a frank trauma, then it's sometimes it's obvious, but a lot of the time it isn't like that. It's slow. You always ask great questions, Lee, and I think one of the ones you said to me was, how do you get subluxation? What's caused this? Because I was showing you X-rays and you were seeing things out my lab. What's actually caused it? So I'm going to show you the most common cause of it. Okay, so you're going to help me. Right. So does everyone know what these are? These are forceps. Okay, so a lot of, unfortunately, when there is complications, and I'm not saying that they're wrong, but these have to be used. So they're kind of placed around the head like that, around the cranium, and tucks under just the jawline there, just around C1. Okay, so I just want you to hold the legs there. Now what they say is when they're pulling a baby out, they use anywhere between 140
Imagine if I was going to come there.
and 170 pounds of force. Now I'm not going to do that because you'll probably put it on the chair, but that's the kind of pressure that's being done.
Oh my God.
Now, again, what do they tell you when you hold a baby? Support is what? What's head, neck, and they're the most. And because the most fragile parts. So, again, do you think those joints might be misaligned, might be a bit strained, possibly get some subluxations from that? So a lot of the times this happens at birth, and again, some people are bringing the children in, but some of you've been here and you've seen babies and you think, oh, why is the baby getting adjusted? Why is it not getting adjusted? Why is it not getting checked? So this, and again, other causes of subluxation. Who learn to walk? Everyone. So when they're back one, they start walking, and what happens a lot? When they walk, so often they'll fall. And next, a bit older, you learn a bike, and what they do, take the stabilisers off, and what happens? Happens again. So often people come in as adults and say, what's caused this? How did this happen? And this is why we're so keen on educating people that the same way, as soon as your kids have got teeth, you usually take them to the dentist to get checked. And if you think of the impact of the health, teeth are important, but when we're talking about the spine, has a much bigger impact. So sorry, maybe a few jokes there, but from personal experience, I know the devastating effects of what can happen with any kind of birth stress. So where's my little clicker? So how do we detect now these subluxations? So again, our patients here know that we do several tests, and some are really interested, some Some of you don't care, do you? So you just see the face glaze over. But we do we do things like thermography scans, thermal imaging. So again, we're looking at temperature disruption along the spine. We do surface EMGs, like ECGs on the heart, and again, it's measuring the muscle tone, where the body's in balance, where it's contracting more, where it's weaker. We also do something called a pulse rate profiler, which is the same technology as a lie detector test, and that's, we didn't ask any questions though. We look at things like adrenal fatigue, cortisol levels, by looking at the rhythms of the heart. So again, if someone's been under chronic stress and their body's run down and fatigued, we'll be able to see that. And it's really important to get to the cause of why the body's giving you symptoms. Because symptoms, again, they're not the problem. You know, if the lights come up on the dashboard, it's, you know, that's not the issue, there's something going on. And we're so quick to think, oh, right, I've got a headache, I've got sciatica, I've got indigestion, and what? We're treating the symptoms. So we're more looking at, where's this problem come from? We also take x-rays of the spine, so we can really look at the alignment of these vertebrae, if they've been out of position, how long they've been out of position as well. So again, if your tracking's been out of your calf for a long time, what your tyres going to look like? So when we're looking at someone's spine, that's giving us a history of how that person's spine's been functioning. And there's different phases of degeneration. So we have like normal curves and alignment and disc spacing, and then there's different phases. It straightens and it deteriorates, and then you get more bone being laid down, and eventually the last phase it actually fuses. And again, we see people from all different. It's not a case of, oh right, it's too late, you can't help people. It isn't. You know, you want to look after and maintain your health as long as you possibly can. So again, we kind of keep people healthy when they're here, and then we try and prevent as much as we can when they're there. An analogy I use, I mean, it's like this here. You know, do you wake up in the morning and go, look in the mirror, gosh, they're looking good, they feel good, I'm not going to bother today. So again, a lot of the patients, you know, and they can go through cycles of they'll get them functioning really well, and we see them for 6 months, a year, and they're back in again. And you know, and it's just, you've got to, once you've got a healthy functioning spine, you've got to keep it healthy, you've got to maintain it. And the same way you say, well, I'll just brush that one was a bit sore, I'll just brush that too. If you don't, you brush them all to keep them healthy. And it's the same with people's spines. We don't just look at the areas that's degenerative. Obviously, we're going to take extra care, but we're also going to take care of the whole spine. But in terms of headaches and migraines, the neck is absolutely crucial. So what we find is these are 2 x-rays of 2 people, who, sorry, 3 x-rays, you can't see there. Which would you say is the oldest? That one there you go for?
The oldest.
Yeah. Who's the oldest in these x-rays? If you look at the joints, what would you say?
Left.
Yeah, there we bent forward now.
So most people go for this one because it's got all the arthritis. They're all the same age.
All 39.
They're all 39.
Gosh.
So there was nearly a patient that's come in. We refused their lecture on them. They didn't come in. We wondered whether they recognise themselves. No, there's no one here. It's not here. Don't worry. But yeah, it's that perception that arthritis happens when you're old. It doesn't. And you know, this one's got a really nice curve. It's nicely aligned. The disc space are pretty good. Whereas this one, it's starting to fuse, and it's at that more end stage. So they're exactly the same way. You know, there's people in their 90s that've got their teeth functioning really well, and then there's people in their 20s that are having them pulled out because they're all rot and decayed. So in the same way, if you look after, maintain, brush your teeth, visit a dentist, your teeth will last your whole life. It's exactly the same with your spine. Okay. So, what causes it? And this, it's just mad now. It's scary. Like my son, he's 7, he's like grabbing my phone off me. He's there playing games. And it's just so easy, and it's a real worry because, you know, they say that the average, 5-year-old now has consumed more sugar in its lifetime than the average person lived in their whole life 100 years ago. And this is why there's so many teeth problems, obesity, diabetes. But it's exactly the same with the spine. We're getting kids doing what they're doing. They're cutting back. They want the so-called important subjects, maths, English, sciences, more emphasis on those and less on sport. So, getting rid of the sports fields and they're doing less and less exercise and sitting in the classroom and then not even writing it, and they're all on like iPads all the time. So yeah, that's probably the most common cause of decay and stress in the spine. Yeah, and the weight of the head, this is the thing, it's when you're in neutral, the weight of your head, the average weight of the head is about 10 pounds. And then they said, as the angle increases, you can go up to maybe 50 pounds, 5 times more when you've got posture. And you think how quicker then the joints will wear out because of that loading. So what can you do? What can you do to help your neck? And certainly don't do that. Hopefully that's not too familiar. And slouching over the desk. People have got the wrong chairs, so they've got handles on, so they can't pull the chairs under, so they're sat too far away, slouched forward, the screen's too low, or they're working on laptops. Worse still, you're working on a laptop on your sofa, or even in your bed. This is how you need to get yourself set up. We've actually, you see the reception desk, it's a standing desk. Charlotte's been in since early this morning, she's leaving late, she'll be on her feet the whole day, absolutely fine. The body is designed to be up and stood all day. If you can't do that, try and get as good as you can. So you want your spine at 90 degrees, so you can have a supported chair. The eyes won't be hitting the middle of the monitor. Your keyboard don't be too far away, so you want to be closer at 90 degrees. Again, with your mouse, if you're twisting, you're going to create that torsion through the spine. It doesn't seem like much because it doesn't hurt, but it's it's a bit like that donut, doesn't hurt, but slowly it will plug up your arteries, right? So it's exactly the same with your posture. Think of it in those terms. It's that cumulative effect it's having. Wobble cushions are good, so you send those down on the seats. We have you moving around, but it's much better for your circulation, stimulates your nervous system. The wobble balls, they're great as well. But yeah, you can get these adjustable desks now. We've just got some upstairs, haven't we?
The food is on one.
The food is on one.
So
Not being quite used to what it's like, but it's actually you can sit down for a bit and then you can it just has a button it presses and it lifts it up and then you can alter it. So
Do you catch yourself slouching?
not well. I'm on my feet all day and I'm doing. I don't
catch
catch.
you slouching. I'm constantly trying to keep my neck straight. I'm always correcting my position and stuff, but I just find myself back in that same sort of slouch position.
Well, I've been training in this area, in this field for like 20 years, so I've always been conscious of it. But like yourself, this is new to you, and you've done a job where plastering and lifting things, and you don't think about your body. So I get a lot of people just retrain, but you can, people say, oh, it's been there for so long. You can retrain. A lot of it's not just physically; it's retraining the brain as well, because those neural pathways are so well reinforced. But yeah, you can change it, and the adjustments are helping that as well, as long as the exercise you do. But yeah, the adjustable standing ones are good as well. Right, so coming back to neurology, because again, people they always just focus on like the joints and the discs and the bone, but what everyone forgets is the important stuff, the soft, delicate neural tissue, which is keeping you alive. So I always use the banana as an analogy. Imagine you've got a banana and you straightened it. Imagine that's the flesh in the middle. So often people, as I say, with that posture, they're stretching and straining their spinal cord, and it's constant in the tension. So then what happens is you get these triggers, and there's all these things, that causes my headaches, or that causes migraines, but then there's so many inconsistencies, isn't there? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So like, one time you can have a glass of red wine, and you find another time you get that blinding headache. Because it's not ever one thing. It's an accumulation of things, and it's how much vitality is in the system. So if you've had a stressful day, you've had bad posture, then you have a glass of wine, well, that headache, that migraine will come on straight away. But actually, we start removing some of those other stresses and getting that vitality up. Because true health isn't feeling good. True health is the body's ability to adapt to stress. So you think of that person with heart disease, they might feel fine, but then you get them to run upstairs and they die when they get to the top. So it's the ability to cope with the environmental stresses and adapt to it. The only thing that adapts in your body is this. That's what's learned, that's what, and it has to do it through your spine. So as soon as you do that, you're reducing your body's ability to adapt. So as I say, we are focused on there, and the upper part of the neck and the headaches and migraines, but it's the same for everywhere else. Whether it's your blood pressure, your breathing, your digestive system, your reproductive system, it's all through that same okay. So yeah, I'm sure if you suffer from headaches, you know which type of headaches you've got, but there are different varieties and they're caused by different things. So again, the sinus headaches, that's when the pressure builds up here. It's often because it's not draining correctly. And again, what do we go? We go back to that olfactory nerve that does smell, taste, but also it controls and drains your sinuses. And the amount of people have adjusted and like, gosh, you know, I can just feel it draining straight away because they've had a complete disconnect. So the brain's not even aware that there's problems going on in the body. And again, when that when you re-establish that feedback loop, the body starts self-regulating itself. So tension, again, this fits in a lot of them what I call cervicogenic. So they're coming from the neck. And again, the tension is more like the band, like the pressure, like so you've got a vice on your head. There's one that's not on there is TMJ headaches, and we know you know about those, don't you, Jane? So again, if the jaw is out, and I've had people who have had like fillings done, and that's changed their bite, and then they've got migraines and headaches. It's because it's caused tension around these muscles around the jaw, and again, the body can't adapt, gets fatigued, and the headache comes on. The headache isn't the problem; it's your body's giving you warning signs. Same if you drink, you know, you go out for an hour, 2 bottles of wine next day, you have a blinding headache because it's. And what do you say? Gosh, I'm never going to drink again. So it's all there. You know, you put your hand on the red hot radiator, the pain's there. Move your hand. You know. But imagine if we said, oh, you can keep your hand there. We'll just give you some ibuprofen, some paracetamol, and inject it with some cortisone, and you probably keep your hand there a lot longer. That sounds ridiculous, but literally that's what people do with the rest of the body. Cluster headaches. They tend to be on the eye, and this is when you can have periods of again. You're fine, and then you'll get like 20 in 1 week. You know, that's how they tend to work. Migraines, as I went over that, all those cranial nerves are firing, and it's a sensory disturbance. So it's a sensory overload. So it should make sense if you then put things into the system. So certain times, just bright lights is enough to trigger a migraine, because what is it doing? It's firing those cranial nerves, which are already stressed, and that's blowing the system. So then the migraine comes on. So what you do, you go into a quiet, dark room, you've got to be on your own, let the nervous system calm down, let it recover, and then it goes off. But that's not, again, it helps as a natural way of helping, but it's not the cure. There's something else going on where the system is too stressed, too overloaded to adapt and cope. So yeah, if you skip your meals, because again, your blood sugar level, blood pressure, caffeine is a stimulant. So again, you're increasing things and you're putting load on your body. Drinking coffee is putting load on your body. A lot of us think, oh, I couldn't survive in the morning unless I have it. But again, that's because of hormone levels are out of balance, and you're having to stimulate your hormones to kind of get yourself going. But then you're going to have to pay back with fatigue later or a migraine. And again, physical exertion, load the system, can't cope, blows. Too much noise, we said, different smells. Again, it can get to that point where it's just so overloaded that the smallest things are start, oh, I've got a migraine. And it's a big cause of suicide, because people just, they get to a stage where they just don't want to leave the house. Or, I had this lady and she was in tears, and she was saying, look, my daughter told me she was getting married, and my first thought was, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to go because I'm going to have a migraine. Because she knew she wouldn't be able to cope with that environment, with lots of people, lots of noise. And her aim when she came to see me was to be able to go to a daughter's wedding and enjoy it. So yeah, it's looking at, again, not focus. You'll have all different pills and potions and lotions and even natural things to try and work on these, but it's still not working. And why isn't the body expressing health? Why isn't it thriving? Okay, so cause and effect. So yeah, like I said, number one, stress. The amount of stress that we have to deal with now is unreal. People got their phones and constantly getting texts, emails, calls. Work never ends, does it? You get home and you can't. You've got your phone, it beeps. I just check it. Oh no, I've got to do that tomorrow. And the whole night you're worrying about what you've got to do tomorrow. You don't sleep properly. So financial stresses, children, all those things that we're all having to deal with, and our nervous system isn't set up for that. We're not programmed. Our genetic coding, it's not changed. So the Human Genome Project, and they said the human genome was changed 0.02% in 40,000 years. So you're all designed to be hunter-gatherers. So when you get stressed, you think something's going to attack you. So automatically, what goes up? Because you get ready to fight or flight, blood pressure goes, heart rate goes up, your blood gets thicker, your cholesterol goes up. People don't realise, getting one of those common drugs that's prescribed is statins for high cholesterol. Your cholesterol goes up on purpose. It's not your body going wrong. So if you're, again, think back to the hunter-gatherer, he had the usual stress is something going to attack you. The body, the liver changes, it releases LDL, which is supposed to be the bad cholesterol, to thicken the blood. So if you get scratched, bitten, you don't bleed to death. So it clots better and you've got more chance of survival. I mean, how amazing is that? It does that in a split second. And it actually takes, when you're running low on cortisol in a stressful situation, you take other hormones, so you take things like serotonin, dopamine, and convert it into cortisol, because it thinks, we're not worried about feeling good. If some tiger's trying to eat me, I need to get away. So again, it's understanding what's happening in the body and why you're getting symptoms. So people are in this chronic stress state, but they're just taking more and more drugs to treat the symptoms as opposed to looking at, well, why are they stressed in the first place? So yeah, and it's not just like a chemical change in the body. If you look at all mammals when they stress, what happens to their posture? Flex. So they're defending themselves. We do exactly the same. So shoulders come up, chin tucks, all those neck muscles get tight, and we're getting ready to fight or run away. Now again, a day or two, it's not too bad. But when people are like in a stressful relationship, work, and they're like that for days, months, weeks, years, again, this is what's breaking the body down and causing a lot of those things. People literally wear their teeth away through stress because they're holding so much tension in their body. So let's look at some solutions. If this is happening to your spine, we know if this was happening to your teeth, if your teeth are crooked, what do you do to your teeth?
Straighten.
Yeah, put braces on. And if you imagine if you've been stressed, your neck's been like that for
A lot of that's vanity though, isn't it?
teeth.
Yeah. Braces and stuff, I put a lot of that down to vanity. The point is, a lot of people can't really see what's going on.
Yeah, I kind of wish that.
So
Yeah,
put that off.
if the spine was on their face, they'd probably take much better care of it. You're right.
Exactly that.
I mean, it is like health issues as well with that as well, but it's not something that can be quickly fixed. If you're coming in, your spine's looking like that. If you went to the dentist and you said, oh yeah, we'll sort those out today, you'd look at him like they were mad. And what if they said, okay, yeah, we can straighten your teeth, we'll give you a pill for it, or we'll give you an injection. You think, what are they talking about? My teeth are crooked, how's that going to help? Literally, that's what's happening. You get, whether it's back pain, sciatica, headaches, migraines, it's a structural, functional problem with the spine, and there's no way a pill or an injection or a potion is going to change that. So, these are some quite, these kids with all the sugar I was talking about. So, what's the best way to treat tooth decay?
Take them all out.
Not take it out. Well, at the end of it, yeah, when it's that stage. But the best way to treat it is for it never to get like that in the first place. So when we look at someone's spine and when it's like this, the best way to prevent this is never letting it to get to that stage. And the only way to do that is care for it when it's like this. But again, most people, well, I don't need to see a chiropractor. Well, my back feels fine. I've got no pain in it. So they literally, I was saying, by the time you've got tooth decay, you're saying you get pain, you've got tooth decay. So exactly the same as spine. So by the time you feel an achy back, it's pretty sick, Like it's saying, by the time you get chest pains, by the time you've got chest pains, the heart's in a pretty bad way. So the only way to really stop this, to treat this, is to stop it happening in the first place. Okay, right, we're moving through. Right, so I want to give you some tips. So very, very common one, as you all know, is this one here, is water, and that, sometimes I could be guilty for it. I'm rushing around, and we had a busy clinic this morning, we had a team meeting, and then I was preparing for this talk, and then I was in clinic, and again I was filming water, and the girls are great. I'll go on there and they'll grab my water glass and they'll put it up for me. But yeah, water definitely, one of the main causes. The brain is the most sensitive organ to dehydration. So it's by the time you feel thirsty, you're so 70-80% 80% dehydrated. So yeah, you need to be getting average person. I mean, different really big person would need a bit more, smaller person need a bit less, but the average person about 2.5 litres. Right, so again, an absolute epidemic, isn't it? These energy drinks. Oh, I hate the Monster and Red Bull and all these types of things. If you suffer from headaches and migraines, stay well clear of those. Full of main things, sugar. You know, if you have a load of sugar, the chemical change in your body is huge. The insulin level changes, you know, how that affects your cortisol levels, how that, you know, so that in itself, just the sugar in it. But then you combine that with caffeine as well. You know, and then the diet drinks, they're even worse because they're full of, you know, artificial aspartame, which is carcinogenic amongst other things. So yeah, just really try your best to stay away with those. And the ones we discussed, caffeine, alcohol, red wine because it's high in sulfates. Sorry, those red wine lovers. If you really love, you can actually get these filters now, can't you? That I saw one. You can get a filter that you pour the red wine through, and it removes the sulfate, so it can help with headaches and migraines. So yeah, but still not. It'll still give you a headache if you drink 2 bottles. Yeah, foods. I mean, again, it can be different with different people. But I've just put some of the most common ones: processed foods. Guess what? It's full of rubbish, so it's more likely to give you a headache. Chocolate, unfortunately, that's one of the common stimulators. I think because it has a bit of caffeine in as well. I think that's part of it. But yeah, chocolate just seems to be up there. Cheese as well. Because of hormones in cheese and how it affects your hormone levels. So yeah, cheese tends to be one, and obviously sugar. Wheat, again, because of the impact it has on hormones. So when you have a lot of bread, rice, pasta, really change your blood sugar levels, and so you get a blood sugar spike and insulin levels change, and again that can be part of it. I can't remember I was reading this, you know, young girls straight away on, you know, the pill, and then, you know, HRT and all these other kind of hormones that are constantly being changed, and a lot of the foods that cause that as well. I mean, I could do a full talk on the effects of certain foods like soya and things like that. So there is so many things that can affect it. But again, when your body's healthy, it has the capacity to absorb more of these stresses. So I had a lady, she loved gin and tonic, and she said, oh gosh, I just, you know, as soon as I have a bang migraine, the biggest thing she was happy about is as she started getting care, she could start drinking gin and tonics again. And I said, it's still not good for you, it's just that you've now got a better capacity to absorb that stress. Oh, sorry, one part I missed out. MSG, everyone knows what that is? Monosodium glutamate. What do you see it most in?
Crisps.
Crisps, yeah. What's it called? Chinese food. So the sort, you know, bright coloured sauces and stuff like that. That's like a headache in a jar. So stay away from those. That's a very common cause.
Have you ever had one without it?
Yes.
Does it taste anything like it?
No, it's good. No.
It's a trick.
No.
Put a bit of that stuff on.
There is a place in Little Hacks. Yeah.
Well,
they
can do it. Add
Yeah,
so it doesn't mean that there's none in it.
It's hard, isn't it? Because so much of it buying bulk in this.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's trying to stay away from that. So neck stretches. I'll just go through some. Actually, can I grab you, Charlotte? Easier to grab that chair. Yeah, just grab this one here. So a lot of these neck muscles, the trap muscles, they come and attach from the shoulders, come up and attach into the base of the skull here. And the job of these muscles is to hold your head up all day. As I said, as your head starts to come forward, these muscles have to work so much harder. And a lot of times you can get you probably get your shoulder up and you press it, and then it actually refers to a part of your head. So yeah, often that tension is what's causing that. So really, a couple of simple stretches you can do to release that. If you just hold your hand on the side of your head here, use the side of the chair, so this is quite good, so you anchor your other arm on the side of the chair, and you keep your head upright, and you're looking straight forward, and then you're just pulling that over, and you're keeping that pull down, and Charlotte's nice and flexible. You can see all these neck muscles here, they're really open now. So you hold that there for a good 10 seconds, ease off, do both sides, not just the side you get the headache, I think just equal everything out. and 10 seconds, do 3 each on each side. And then the next one you do is turn your head 45 degrees, just give it the same hand again, and keep hold of there, and you pull them down and across. It's just getting, so we have the lateral muscle of the neck, and now we're coming down into the main part of the traps here. So you can just hold in that there, 10 seconds, do 3 each side. So they're just a couple of simple stretches to really open that out. One of the things we use in clinic and some of the patients, I'll just be a second, I'll just grab one of those. Is one of the cervical wedges?
Where?
I think there's one that's next time, obviously.
Yeah, he was all the time. But my brother was trying to grab him yesterday. And he was just like, no. Yeah, she couldn't get him. She's like,
So we go to a lot of this. This is an exercise that we use as well. And again, this is positioned on the back of the neck. This is when laying on the floor. And again, you just kind of lay and relax over that. So I think is any of our patients using these? Yeah. So again, some people find it really easy. Some of them will be quite a challenge. It all depends how much wear and tear is going on the neck. But ideally, you want to be able to get so your head's actually touching the floor. Got a nice C curve. And again, someone sat at a desk all day. That's just a good way to open out. Again, so that's some of the things that.
Is that why we're aiming then, to get our head on the floor?
Yeah. You know, if you've got.
and how long do you do that for, Jason?
So you start off. People start with 3 minutes to start with, just to get, and then you build it up. So it's all dependent on each person. So
And is it
some people get to 20 minutes. So.
good attitude before you go to bed? Or?
Yeah.
It's a bit safe for me. Screw himself back up.
You'll find a lot of people, if their neck muscle, let's say you've been plastering, you've been in this position all day, and then you go the opposite, it'll just start cramping up.
I mean, when I've been laid there before, I'm about 15 minutes now, but then I come up it.
Oh yeah, because it's just not used to being in that position, but it's not a bad thing. It's just, yeah, it's just stretching deep muscles, ligaments. Yeah, that's great. That's fine. Oh yeah, that's fine. Oh yeah, I'll show you. So the ice pack is a great way to get, so just chucking down, you know, the ones that the gut bleeders. Try and use something more natural. So the ice pack is great. One of these gel packs are really good. So the best way to do it is kind of, I won't get to lay on the floor, but lay onto your bed, knees bent, so it relaxes your muscles. Put this on the pillow and then just lay back and just relax, and then just get it on those muscles. Because a lot of times, a lot of tension, inflammation there, and just by reducing that swelling down, inflammation, that can often calm the headaches. It's quite nice to have a cooling. And things like some people like lavender oils and things like that rub on the temples, and you know that can be quite a calming smell. And you know, so it depends which, again, if it's an olfactory nerve that's being overfired, that can sometimes help with that. So that's quite common. Another stuff we recommend is Biofreeze. If you think of this as like, you see like the Voltarol stuff, but this has no nasty chemicals, or it's like a natural version of that, so it's like a menthol and it has a cooling effect. But yeah, there's you know, any skin, it doesn't react with people's skins, which is a common thing with the Voltarol stuff. It causes rashes and sores and that kind of thing. Because that's just a natural way of doing that. As again, there's a bit of a relief to do if you're really struggling in the evening and you can't get any sleep. It's a good idea to, you know, use the ice, use some of that gel, and just kind of calm it down, kind of naturally.
What are your thoughts on Tiger Balm?
Yeah, it's kind of good. It's a natural remedy. It has like a distracting effect on the nervous system. So like the menthol does the same. So what happens with the brain? It's got so many nociceptive kind of pathways it can fire, and if you stimulate with other things, it's like a bottleneck. It can only take so much information in, so your pain levels will drop. So you rub some of that, you know, hot. And it's not actually changing much physically, but it kids your brain,
Right.
which I think is better to do that than to take tablets which are damaging your health, and that's not causing you harm. So yeah, things like that are good as well. Be similar to that what I just said. Right. So a lot of the time, the reason people get chronic headaches and they can't get out of the pattern is something called the posterior chain. So these are the muscles on the back of your body. So like your calf, hamstrings, glutes, the big muscles down your back, paraspinal muscles, traps muscles that we just talked about. And it's because most people's jobs, they're sat, you know, they get up in the morning, drive to work for an hour, sit at a desk 6-7 hours, and they're sat in this flexed position all the time, and they disengage in these muscles, so these muscles start to waste and become really weak, and the body just wants to drop forward. And so all the exercises you really want to concentrate in the gym are training those posterior chain muscles. What you want to avoid is training the muscles at the front of the body, which is what most people do. They're going to do sit-ups, crunches, biceps, chest, and it's already in a short and flexed position, and that's reinforcing it even more. So the ones in the gym, lateral pull down, seated row, upright row, front row, all things that are training your back muscles, which will help keep you in that more upright position. Simple one for like hamstrings, quads, glutes is just like a squat, or just kind of, lunges, and again, depending on your fitness levels, you could use weights with it, or you could just do it slowly. So if you've got issues with your hips, your knees, just take your time with it, do it really controlled, just break it down into individual parts, come back up again, and it'll still do what you want it to do. So those are the main things to do. I find that if you have got headaches, migraines, if you do really high exertion, like HIIT classes, circuit classes, just where your blood pressure goes up really quickly, that can be a trigger. So just be wary of that. So you probably want to do more gentler type exercise. Things like Pilates, yoga, which again can give you a lot of strength, but won't stress the nervous system as much as those other type of exercises. Right, I think I've gone through everything there. Yeah, and what we're all about here is, what we say our mission statement is elevating the well-being of our community by optimising the health potential of every family through chiropractic care. And we truly are a family clinic, and you see all the families come in and the kids get adjusted, and that's our passion. Is we want to get people healthy, but more importantly, we want to keep them well. When he showed you that picture of the decaying teeth and the healthy spine, it's really, when I say who should see a chiropractor, everyone should see a chiropractor. So again, hopefully that's reinforcement for the patients here, and because often you just get focused on your symptoms when you first came in, but a lot of your ongoing care is to make sure we keep you healthy. That's my real passion. And so what we're going to do now is, I know we've got a couple of people here that are not patients. What Charlotte's going to do is she can come around, she can collect the sheet you've filled in, so that we can see exactly where there's potential subluxations going on in your spine. And we're doing an offer because I'm sick of people using money as an excuse of not getting their health checked, because most people only want to take action when they're in crisis, and it's usually very difficult to help people then. So what we're going to do, sorry for the people that played full price here, so we do it at half price, but also what we're extending to is that includes any members of your family too. So they can come in, get checked, get all the scans, x-rays if needed, all for £75, and that's the whole family. So whether you've got 2 members, 4 members, you're welcome. Speak to Charlotte, she'll come round and she'll get you booked in. We have got a couple of spaces that we've put aside, haven't we? Because we are a busy clinic, so we have some of this talk. Now also what we like to do is send out a lifeline to anyone that you're probably sat there thinking, oh gosh, my brother, my sister, my mother, they needed to be here, they needed to get that. So if there is anyone, we're not going to tell them anything, but just give the name to Charlotte. What Charlotte will do, we'll contact them when we've next got a talk in, and they can come and hear what chiropractic is about, and then they can take advantage of that